equivalent to 80,000 years. It is not clear exactly what is meant by a seed, but it seems to refer to Singer's particular group, perhaps genetically familial. It is also mentioned that Singer has accumulated the experience of 10,000 time grains, which implies that he has been alive as long as his seed has, or at least has a way of inheriting the experience of his ancestors. Singer describes his homeworld as once being a place of great joy, but now it was joyless, and so was his seed. It is mentioned that the happiness of his race's past was recorded in songs. He was called Singer because as he went about his assigned job, he enjoyed singing his race's classical songs, as it was one of the few forms of joy left to his people. It is not exactly clear, however, what singing actually means in the context of Singer's race. Throughout the chapter, Singer refers to humans and life forms like us as low entropy beings. Compared to Singer's race, we are unstructured, random beings. Up until the point in which Singer's race shows up in the series, we have only encountered the might of the Trisolarans, who paled in comparison to the might of Singer's race. There was of course the unnamed race of beings who destroyed the Trisolaran homeworld, but their method for the destruction of Trisolaris, firing a photoid from a ship, indicated that they were also at a lower level of advancement than Singer's race. This chapter also introduced the idea that a hiding gene and a cleansing gene exist among the life forms of the universe. This seems to refer to the inclinations of certain civilizations to hide themselves from the greater universe, and the inclination to offensively destroy threatening civilizations. Singer's race seems to be extraordinarily ancient. Singer muses that in the distant age, lower entropy clusters like Earth's solar system were rare and far apart. Singer's race had the capability to identify signals sent out by intelligent civilizations and destroy them with ease. The main core allowed them to do this. The main core's job was to pick up the coordinates, and it remembers all the positions of the stars.
I'm not ready yet.
By matching the received data against various map projections and the position schema, it could pick out the coordinates of the message's origin. It was said that the main core could match the position of schema from 500 million time grains ago. To Singer's world, the low entropy civilization like the human race, who did not possess the hiding gene, was dangerous. This is because without the hiding gene, they would not be afraid of exposing their own presence, and would expand and attack without fear. Singer's ultimate choice was to unleash a dual vector foil to flatten the Earth's solar system into 2 dimensions.
I'm not ready
He did
yet.
this while singing. There's a lot of mystery surrounding Singer's race. More details about them are presented in the spin-off novel Redemption of Time, but I want to keep this video in the main series. We will cover the events of Redemption of Time in another video. Part 4. The Higher Dimensional Microcosmos. The book The Three-Body Problem introduces a rather mind-boggling concept. The Trisolarans, when attempting to unfold a subatomic particle into 2 dimensions, encountered intelligent life within the particle. When viewed from the vantage point of higher dimensions, a subatomic particle could be exponentially vast. The Princeps was one of the few who kept calm. He asked the Science Council, how complicated can the internal structure of a subatomic particle be? It depends on the number of dimensions of your observation perspective. From a one-dimensional perspective, it's only a point. That is how ordinary people think of the particles. From a 2- or 3-dimensional perspective, the particle begins to show internal structure. From a 4-dimensional perspective, a fundamental particle is an immense world. The Princeps said, to use a word like immense to describe a subatomic particle such as a proton seems incredible to me. The Science Council ignored the Princeps and continued. As we move to higher dimensions, the complexity and number of structures within a particle increase dramatically. The comparisons I'm about to make will not be precise, but should give you an idea of the scale.
I must wait.
A particle seen from a 7-dimensional perspective has a complexity comparable to our Trisolaran stellar system in 3 dimensions. From an 8-dimensional perspective, a particle is a vast presence like the Milky Way. When the perspective has been raised to 9 dimensions, a fundamental particle's internal structure and complexity are equal to the whole universe. As for even higher dimensions, our physicists haven't been able to explore them, so we cannot yet imagine the degree of complexity. Considering the complexity of the internal structure of the proton within higher dimensions, intelligent life within one was not only possible, but likely. And what the Trisolarans encountered after attempting this first was undoubtedly intelligent life. It initially manifested in a form that most intelligent life would recognize. Eyes. Many eyes hovering in the sky above Trisolaris. The princeps pointed to the giant eyes in space. Do these show that the microcosmos contained within the unfolded proton harbors intelligent life? Our definition of life is probably not appropriate for the high-dimensional microcosmos. More accurately, we can say that universe contains intelligence or wisdom. At first, the Trisolarans think that perhaps the eyes simply wish to demonstrate their presence. These beings, while normally confined to the microcosmos of the proton within higher dimensional space, were now manifesting in 3 dimensions. But the Trisolarans were wrong initially. This wasn't to demonstrate their existence. This was to mount an attack on Trisolaris, who they obviously rightfully viewed as a threat to their own microcosmos. The eyes floating above Trisolaris merged into one giant eye, and then transformed into a parabolic mirror used to scorch the surface of Trisolaris. The parabolic mirror focused the sun's beams onto the surface of Trisolaris. Initially, the spot of light was very large, and the heat at the focal point wasn't yet lethal. This spot moved across the ground, searching for its target. The mirror discovered the capital, the largest city of Trisolaris, and the light spot began to move toward it. Soon the beam was over the city. Those standing under the pendulum monument only saw a great brightness in space. It overwhelmed everything else, accompanied by a wave of extreme heat. Then the light spot over the capital shrank as the parabolic mirror began to focus the light more tightly. The brightness from space grew stronger until no one could lift up his head, and those standing within the spot felt the temperatures rise rapidly. Just as the heat became unbearable, the edge of the light spot swept past the pendulum monument, and everything dimmed. It took a while before the crowd's sight readjusted to normal light. When they looked up, the first sight that greeted them was a pillar of light between the sky and earth, shaped like an inverted cone. The mirror in space formed the base of the cone, and the tip stabbed the heart of the capital, turning everything there incandescent at once. Waves of smoke began to rise. Tornadoes caused by the uneven heat of the light cone formed on several pillars made of dust that connected the sky, twisting and dancing around the light cone. The Trisolarans respond in kind, attacking the eye with nuclear warheads. The resulting devastation leads to the annihilation of the entire microcosmos, one of near infinite microcosmoses throughout the universe. It was at least an intelligent body, and also princeps. We destroyed the entire microcosmos. That miniature universe is immense in higher dimensions, and probably contained more than one intelligence or civilization that never had a chance to express themselves in macrospace. Of course, in higher dimensional space, at such a micro scale, the forms that intelligence or civilization may take is beyond our imagination. There's something else entirely, and such destruction has probably occurred many times before. Oh? In the long history of scientific progress, how many protons have been smashed apart in accelerators by physicists? How many neutrons and electrons? Probably no fewer than 100 million. Every collision was probably the end of the civilizations and intelligences in a microcosmos. In fact, even in nature, the destruction of universes must be happening at every second. For example, through the decay of neutrons, Also, a high-energy cosmic ray entering the atmosphere may destroy thousands of such miniature universes. As I said, it is clear that the life forms within the Proton's microcosmos viewed the Trisolarans as a threat. It is not clear whether this was a single civilization within the microcosmos or a collection of them working together in defense of their own universe. What is clear is that in the process of attempting to unfold the Proton, the Trisolarans sacrificed potentially trillions of lives. I find this concept very intriguing whenever it pops up within science fiction. The idea that our universe is filled with countless smaller universes within it makes the universe feel even more vast and infinite than it already does. It also makes us wonder, what if our own universe was simply a microcosmos within another, grander universe? Our entire cosmos could potentially be destroyed at the whim of a greater civilization within a higher realm of existence. Part 5. The Trisolaran Destructors. During the war with humanity,